scaled so large, it doesn't look like there's much of a change, but it is significant, particularly with Jackson County. We are actually seeing a falling off in each one of the 3 county areas. Some areas of our state are much more besieged by outmigration than we are. The state matters, I wanted to cover those with you here for a minute to tell you what's happening up in Lansing. As if I knew. It's hard to figure out some days. We have the governor's state of the state coming up on the 3rd of February, and she has to have a budget ready to be received by the legislature by the 11th of February. And there are lots of things going on right now. Of course, you've got Dillon's health care plan, you've got budget fighting, you've got stimulus issues that are out there. It's like looking at a moving target and you're going dizzy following it around. The one thing that I know for sure is that we were spared this current fiscal year. Out of all of the state's budget, both the general fund and the SAF, the school aid fund, we were the only budget that was spared. We did not receive a cut, and I don't know what miracle of miracles prompted that to happen other than, lobbying and so forth, but it was amazing to me, the recognition from the governor's office. She mentioned that, we are the engine, the community colleges are the engine that is really stepping up and meeting the need that is out there. So she really saw us as being important to spare, and the legislature agreed. But that, in my view, that's a great miracle. The promised scholarship is DOA. It's done. It's over and done. And we were fortunate in that we made this decision early on. We anticipated here that we were not going to have promised scholarships, so we didn't shape financial aid packages including that. Other colleges, some of our peers got caught. They said, well, let it be there, and it wasn't, so they ended up having to make it up out of reserves or give the bad news to the students who were anticipating that, and the students had to scramble for the financial aid. So it was good positioning on our part, but it is emblematic of the challenges that the state is facing. Right now, the state is facing a budget hole of $1.73 billion. That's a lot. And I have no way of seeing any way that the community college budget will not be touched in the future. In fact, we are knowing that there are lots of challenges coming to budgets, and community colleges are on the hit list, the hit parade, so to speak. But there have been some positives, and one is the fact that we've had some increased funding available for No Worker Left Behind. That's been helping individuals who are displaced. So there is funding there to try to get people to get the skills, but trying to match them up with available jobs is one of the most difficult challenges that we face. We do have other bills that we're working on as well. You've heard me talk about the baccalaureate granting opportunity for us. This is for a limited number of programs, 4 specific, and this is permissive. This does not mean that all community colleges must offer those. You would find it hard to offer a maritime academy or maritime program here in Jackson. Maybe something down in Browns Lake might work for you, I don't know. But we're not going to be offering that. The one that we're focusing on here is on the nursing baccalaureate program, trying to bring that along. The Carnegie Commission came out 2 weeks ago and said this national research organization came out, and it's getting play all over the countryside now, saying that we're recommending that the country not employ anyone less with a BSN in healthcare positions in the hospitals. That's been a shock wave through our state, certainly, as we've been discussing this issue. We'll continue to do good work on that and make sure it's the right thing for us to do, but we're pursuing it pretty aggressively right now. It moved out of House committee. It's on the House floor for consideration. I imagine that will happen before the State of the State on February 3rd. And then the rest of the work is over on the Senate side and then in reconciliation. Cedar's legislation, excuse me, I missed the P20. This is kind of going on quietly around the fringes. If you're not aware of it, Race to the Top is about tracking, for those of you 1984, Big Brother's watching. Some of you might have those fears, but this is about understanding when an individual inserts themselves in the education program in kindergarten and begins moving forward. So we track their educational progress, their academic performance, and how they move throughout our institution and moving resources around. We had a threat from the state that said if we didn't participate in this by sharing this information, I was deeply concerned about FERPA and lots of information being released and who had access to information. But we were told that if we did not participate in this program, I was told anyway, that we would not be getting any more state funding. Okay, all right, where do you want me to sign for that thing, right? So we are signed up to participate with P through 20, and all the universities have signed on, all the community colleges have signed on in the state, and I think about half the privates now. And I think that they're going to be at risk on some way. They're going to get them into a headlock and tell them they need to sign that as well. So suffice it to say that we're going to have our IR offices and our student services offices pretty actively engaged in tracking where our students are going. You know that in the past, we've had difficulty trying to find out about the performance of our students after they transfer to a baccalaureate granting institution. Well, that's not going to be the case anymore. It's going to take about 3 years to get this fully rolled out. It's all part of an initiative to establish a nationwide, worldwide portal for Michigan colleges and education systems. We are partnering in the state with a group called ConnectEDU. Some of you might be familiar with that. Some of our local schools are doing it. It allows the parents to be involved in what educational program the students are involved in, what courses they're taking, what institution they're going to transfer to, seamlessly transfers their transcript from high school to the college, to another college, to another college. It also tells them what kind of job title they'll have, what jobs available, what they're likely to make in terms of first year and 5-year wages and 10-year wages. It's pretty sophisticated, and it's going to be pretty interesting, I think, for all of us to watch as we try to help students be more successful. The CEDARS legislation, I'm not going to bore you with that. Suffice it to say that it's talking about investment strategies within our institution and relying on both in-state and intrastate banking and lending institutions for investment of available resources we have, trying to generate additional income. About JCC, all the facts you want to know. Let's move on, Amanda. This is the enrollment. Billing contact hours, I don't have to tell you, we've got lots of cars in the parking lot and lots of students running around. This is how we're looking right now. The 2009-2010 data shows a little bit of a dip, but that's only because of where we were at opening day for the winter semester. So we've got some late start classes, and we have spring-summer semester classes coming up yet. So you can see that we've even eclipsed back in the early 90s where we're going to finish out. I suspect, if I were to guess, we'll be somewhere around the 165, 170 range, maybe a bit higher. It's just going to be dependent on a number of market conditions. It is emblematic of the need that our people have in our community, how desperate they are to find new hope and new possibility. And JCC is the resource that they're going to. The enrollment gains we have this semester far exceed our colleagues in the state. In our region in Jackson County, but they also are near the top for the community colleges. We're in the top half dozen institutions in terms of overall growth. Other institutions like us, like our size, like our budget size, are not doing as well. And all things being equal, what's different? Well, we've made a lot of investments in our institution with regard to instructional equipment, space, commitment with new programs and the like, and I think that is having a significant impact on what these numbers look like for us. Amanda? Appropriations, not so good of a number. It's heading in the wrong direction, comparatively speaking. Even though we did not have a cut last year, there are other ways where we are affected. In addition to traditional state aid, we also have been receiving funding support for Native Americans. That is responsibility of the college to be able to provide free education for Native Americans. We don't have that available anymore. There's also been funding support for us in the past with regard to areas that no longer are generating taxes, blighted areas, those largely forested areas up in the Upper Peninsula. So those have had a negative impact on our budget. And so we're seeing that at the state level, and we're seeing the impact here in state appropriations. We're projecting here, if you look at 10, we've not experienced that, but that's the projection that we're making based on currently available data, the conversation we've had with the governor's office, legislative leadership. That's what they're projecting. So we're looking somewhere in the neighborhood of a 20% reduction in state aid. State aid represents about 24% of our